Hey, fellow healthcare workers, nurse fam, how you guys doing today? Um, you know what? I couldn't sleep last night. Well, it's still tonight. It's 3:10 in the morning where I'm at. I can't sleep. I figured I would do a video. I haven't posted one in a long time. I've been saying I was gonna do it, so here we are. Um, Again, my name is Frank Trujillo, also known as Nursidosis on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all those. Um, I have recently, well, today I'm going to be doing my ACLS recertification training, and I stumbled upon something the American Heart Association is working on, and that is bringing more awareness for hypertension, or also known as high blood pressure. Um, I figured, why don't I post a video and let's talk about high blood pressure? Um, and then, of course, I'll put the credit in the description of where I got my information from, what book I used. It's actually the American Heart Association book from their website. So I'm going to help promote this, I guess, campaign or whatever you would call it. And they also provided some links for social media so people get more aware and have more access information on hypertension. And I'll post that in the description as well. Okay, so like I said, today's topic is hypertension, aka high blood pressure. Um, so typically, a normal blood pressure would be 120 over 80 textbooks. But 115 over 75, 125 over 85, that's pretty much a normal blood pressure. It's 120 over 80, give or take 5 to 7 on either systolic or diastolic. Now, referring to that, systolic blood pressure is the top number. So if you have 120 over 80, your systolic blood pressure is the 120. And this systolic blood pressure is the pressure on the vessel arterial wall when the heart pumps. Your diastolic blood pressure, which is the bottom number, the 80, is the pressure on the wall when the heart is relaxed. Pretty simple. The problem with having high blood pressure is if you continuously have this pounding and pounding and pounding on that arterial vessel walls, just like a home, you keep pounding and pounding and pounding the wall, eventually it's going to chip away, get weaker, and break down. Exactly what it would do on a heart vessel. Of course, that's why it can be so life-threatening and cause so many problems. So there's different levels of blood pressure. You have your normal, like I said, it's 120 over 80, give or take a little. Your next level would be your prehypertensive state. And you hear this once in a while. People get told they're prehypertensive. They really don't get it, or they don't care, or they're not educated enough to understand what that means. Now, prehypertension is, you're at that fine line where you don't have high blood pressure, but you're trending towards that way. And if you don't improve your diet, exercise, or whatever the underlying cause may be, you're going to be stepping to that next stage of having the disease, or hypertension disease. I don't want to call it disease, but it is what it is. And at that point, you need to really control it because it can start causing damage to your body. You have a stage 1 hypertension, and that's systolic anywhere from 140 to 159, with your diastolic anywhere from 90 to 99. Going back, your prehypertension scores would be anywhere from 120 to 129 systolic, and anywhere from 80 to 89 diastolic. That's for your prehypertension. So your stage 1 again is anywhere from 140 to 159 systolic, okay, and or 90 to 99 diastolic. We get to your stage 2. Stage 2 hypertension is a little more serious. This is where you really need to take care of it. anywhere a systolic of higher than 160 and a diastolic higher than 100. This is where you really need to either take your medication. You're probably going to be on medication, such as metoprolol, lisinopril, any of those blood pressure medications. But you also need to figure out what you need to do to help fix the issue with not just medication, but also maybe with exercise, diet, stress management, or find the underlying cause. There's also a stage which is an emergency. It's very crucial that you get to the ER, or if you are in the ER, that we fix the problem. It's called a hypertensive crisis. Now, hypertensive crisis, the book says anything above 180 systolic and above 110 diastolic. From my experience, my hypertensive crisis that I have seen is 200s over 120s. Pretty scary. That being the risk is because the risk is you stroke. Blood pressure that high, your chances of a stroke is increased dramatically. So you want to take care of that problem right then and there. You're probably going to end up being in the hospital with a IV drip medication to help control that blood pressure more than likely. The risk factors for high blood pressure or hypertension, of course, we all hear it all the time. Being overweight, having a poor diet, too much sodium intake. People don't realize this one thing, okay? So you may cut back on your salt and your butter, but you're going over here and you're having a Diet Coke. Diet Coke has so much sodium, it's ridiculous. Regular sodas, but everybody thinks I'm not a diet soda, I'm on a diet, I'm not drinking too much sugar. They don't look at the sodium intake on that. I'm one of those people that suffer from that. I don't realize, and I keep drinking those Diet Cokes over and over, and I'm just increasing my sodium intake over and over and over. And my problem is I'm on prednisone, and so the prednisone with the high sodium intake, water weight gain. So you gotta really pay attention to what you're taking and what you're eating with the medications that you're taking as well. Another risk factor is no exercise, which everybody try. I know there's this big kick, everybody's working out, exercising, but a lot of us don't. I'm one of those people too. I say next week I'm gonna start in the gym. Next week I'm gonna go for a walk at least. Next week I'm gonna start a diet. Does it happen? No. Does it need to happen? Yes. But another risk factor is cigarette smoking, nicotine, and alcohol use. And now, every once in a while, alcoholic beverage is not a problem in moderation. But when you excessively drink every day, frequently, your chances of having hypertension and it being a factor in your life increases dramatically as well. They're the two top races that really deal with hypertension more often than other races is African Americans and Latinos. Those are factors that you really have no control over. It's just the way we are made, our genes. That's something you can't prevent if that's the case. The dangers of having hypertension are extreme. They're not to be taken lightly. Your increased chance of stroke, heart disease, heart failure, heart attack, renal failure, and also it can cause damage to the eyes. This all happens because, like I told you, with a stroke, just that pounding and pounding on that vessel is going to make that wall weaker. And if it breaks up, if you hit a vessel in a brain breaks down and pops, and you get a hemorrhage in your brain, it's a life or death situation. That's scary, and if you can prevent that from happening, do it right now. Like you don't know. Let me ask you this: you're a smoker. You smoke a pack a day or less. If you knew in 10 years, if you keep smoking the way you do, would you stop? if you knew that you were going to have a stroke in 10 years? Or would you just wing it and hope for the best? The thing is, you don't know you're going to have a stroke or not in 10 years, but there's a chance you might. That should be enough for you to think about, oh, maybe I should quit smoking, or quit drinking, or just cut down at least. Because you don't know, and you don't know what that cigarette's doing in your body each time. Heart attack, heart disease, you know, the higher the blood pressure, again, that beating on the wall of the heart gets weaker, you know. The big factor that you see more often is renal failure. Now, you can have high blood pressure because of a underlying cause of renal failure in the first place, or high blood pressure that's not taken care of that leads to renal failure. So it's kind of can work in a full circle. But if you do develop renal failure, it could be acute and you may fix it if you get it in time. But if you have high blood pressure and you've had it for 10 years, you never went to the doctor and did your normal yearly checkups, and one day you go in the hospital because you're fluid overloaded, confused, and lethargic because you have all those, you're not able to filter all those toxins out of your body, there's a big chance you may need to go on dialysis. Now, dialysis is a way for us to manually filter your blood to get all the toxins and everything out that your bladder and your kidneys would do normally. These people can spend 3 to 4 days a week from 4 to 6 hours on a machine getting their body filtered because their kidneys can't do it anymore for them. There's other types of dialysis, such as peritoneal dialysis, where they spend 10 to 14 hours a day, every day, on the dialysis machine. And how do you live a normal life like that? And you can't go do nothing because you're stuck on the machine. If you're doing the dialysis 3 times a week, how do you schedule? Your life is stuck on a chair or stuck on a machine, and it's pretty scary. The other thing too is once you hit that stage, there's so many dangers with the renal failure. Your body starts not producing red blood cells correctly. You become anemic. I mean, renal failure can kill you. First time you start getting it, or eventually just leading on until it gets worse and worse and worse. And it may get to the point where dialysis is your permanent solution, or get a kidney transplant. Now, as you all know, getting a transplant of an organ is not easy. If you have hypertension and renal failure and you're a drinker, you're more than likely not going to get that kidney. It's going to go to somebody else. And if it doesn't, it's very expensive surgery. It's very extensive surgery. And it doesn't mean it's going to happen. And the other thing is, too, there's a chance of your body rejecting it. There's so many problems when that happens. And you just really, you really want to avoid getting to that point. It's scary. The thing with the vision and the eyesight and the eye problem is you have these tiny, tiny arteries in your eye. They're small. But these arteries get pounded and pounded and pounded, and eventually it just wears and tears in your eye and you lose your vision, and that's not uncommon either. Now, the risk factors that are hereditary and you have no control over, that increases your risks, of course, is your age, your sex, if you're a man or woman. So let's do younger before middle age. Men are more likely to have high hypertension than women. When you get to that middle age, 40s, 50s, it's about the same. Men and women are about the same level of chances of having hypertension. Once you get past the middle age, women are more likely to be dealing with hypertension. But there are ways, like I said, to help prevent it. So you have no control over those. But the ones you do over is exercise, diet, quitting smoking and drinking, managing your stress, and the most important, get your yearly physicals, checkups. How are you gonna know if you have high blood pressure if you never go to the doctor? How do you know if you have high cholesterol if you never go to the doctor? How do you know your kidney function if you never go to the doctor? You get my point? Catch my drift? Once a year, you go to see the doctor, you get some blood drawn, and check your vitals, so you're aware. Because if you went when you're 25 and you're like, oh, I'm healthy, I'm 25 years old, you don't go till you're 30, 5 years, something could happen. It's not just high blood pressure. What if you develop something like cancer or diabetes? You know, it can happen and you don't know if it's going to happen or not. There's a bunch of things that you can just skip over, and we live in a world today where cancer is more prevalent, diabetes is more prevalent, because all the food we eat has a lot of processed junk in it, a lot of sugar, a lot of sodium, a lot of fake stuff in our food. Don't get me wrong, I'm not a health freak. I eat all those processed foods. I enjoy a McDonald's meal now and then. I excessively drink diet soda, which I shouldn't, because like I said, the sodium content is through the roof in those. But just be more aware and trying to cut back and everything is probably a good idea. Um, they say it's probably a good idea to have, like, if you're trying to lose weight or trying to control your diet, to make a food journal. Now, not everybody wants to carry a little book and a pen. So there's plenty of apps on your phone, iPhone, Droid, Android, where like Food King or something like that. I'll post you links to what kind of apps you can use. But say, for example, you go get a bag of pretzels, and that's your snack at 11 o'clock. You can actually get that app, scan the barcode on the pretzel bag, and all those calories, sodium, carbs, everything goes right into your phone for the day, and it logs it for you. And if it doesn't have a barcode, if you look up 6-ounce chicken breast and you put it in there, it's already logged in there. It'll post that in for you for your diet. Now, when you get to the end of the week, you can look at all your calorie intake, your sodium intake, and then stuff you're not getting enough of, vitamins, protein, and then you go from there and try to adjust your diet. Everybody's on their phone. Let's be real. You have your phone in your hand 80% of the day. At some point when you're eating, go to the app, scan it, you're done. And just pay more attention to what you're eating and drinking. Other healthy ways they explain it too is you want to make sure you have a healthy breakfast. People skip breakfast a lot, and it's not good. It's probably the most important meal because you wake up, you eat, gives you the energy to get your day going, and then if you skip breakfast, your metabolism gets thrown off significantly. This is also recommend. They also recommend eating 6 small meals a day. Now I have a hard time with that especially when you're working on the floor. Even at any work, I mean, you don't have to be a nurse. It's hard to eat 6 meals a day, small meals, because most of the time you have one big one, and that's all you had time all day for. If you even have time to eat lunch on the floor some days, it's hard to eat healthy working in a hospital setting. I don't have experience in an office. I don't know how that works. I'm sure there's some difficulties for you guys too, but that's what they try to say. I eat a lot of fish, a lot of fiber, and drink a lot of water. Of course, it's always water, water, water. My problem is no water, 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 and I'm drinking those diet sodas constantly. Now, when you're educating your patient on blood hypertension, it's important that you bring it down to speak it to them the way that if they don't have a medical background, speak to them the way that you would talk to your mom about taking care of the blood pressure, or your father or your grandparents. It's important that if they're prescribed blood pressure medication, that they take it when they're supposed to, how they're supposed to. Don't skip it. Don't take another because you skipped it. Don't take another one. There's a lot of problems, and for example, I had a 90-year-old patient. I don't remember how long ago. It was a while back, and I told her, "I'm giving you Metropol this morning. Do you usually take this at home?" She tells me, "Oh yes, but I don't remember how many milligrams, or sometimes I forget, and I don't like the way it makes me feel." So who knows how long she wasn't taking it for. She came in with high blood pressure. acute kidney injury. Um, so it was important we sat down, educated on why you need to take it, when you need to take it, and if you don't take it, what's going to happen. She explained to me no one ever did that. She went to her doctor. Her doctor told her she had high blood pressure, gave her medication, sent her on her way. It's very important as a healthcare provider that we sit down and talk to our patient and listen to them. And if we listen to them, they're going to listen to us. Make it a friendly environment so they don't feel like they're being talked down to. Make them feel on the same level as you, because they are. They should be on the same level as you. We're no better than them, and they're no better than us. Just as we're on the same level as doctors, we should be a team. Doctors, nurses, techs, the maintenance crew, everybody that works in an area that brings all of it together should work as a team, because we are a team, and that's the only way things flow. The only way things flow right. Now, the information I went over, it's all from the How to Prevent High Blood Pressure, and the author is the American Heart Association. I'll post the information in the comments or the info area, and I'll also post information on the apps I told you about to scan your food, how to control your diet. Now, let's talk a little bit about stress and high blood pressure. Stress is a big key in hypertension. But you know, everybody thinks stress is bad. You don't want to deal with stress. Stress can actually be a good thing for you. Let's say you're 8 hours in your shift. You're dragging, you're tired, you haven't eaten lunch. All of a sudden, here, code blue, room 3032, and that's your patient. Boom. Stress hits, adrenaline kicks in. You automatically have higher energy. You're more alert. And you just run to that room. Okay? That is a perfect time for a good. You don't want to deal with the code blue. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that type of stress is actually beneficial at that moment. You're more alert. You're more likely to go in there, get on the ball, and start hammering away and try to get that patient better. That's good stress. And personally, I feel like I work better under stress. But when the stress becomes chronic and it's constant, and you're more stressed out 80% more than you are happy every day for a long period of time, that kind of stress is called chronic stress, and that's the kind of stress you don't want to deal with. That's the kind of stress you want to fix. There's a lot of recommendations out there about how to deal with stress. Exercise is one. Meditation. You know, a really big one that I do, and it sounds kind of corny. Talk to yourself, really. For example, say I have to speak in front of people, or I have a conflict with someone and I want to talk to them. I stand in front of the mirror and I talk to myself as if I'm talking to that person, or if I'm talking to that group I need to give a presentation to. I say what I want to say, and then I reflect on it. So then I can perfect what I want to say, and if that's what I want to say is really correct, or if that's the really way I want to say it. For example, if I'm having a conflict with another person and I'm mad, I'm angry, I don't want to go talk to that person right then and there when I'm mad and angry and not thinking correctly. So I talk to myself in front of the mirror as I'm talking to the other person. And you realize most of the time you don't feel 100% better after your anger calms down. But you also realize you probably would have said something that you didn't want to say and you didn't mean, but you just spoke because you're mad. I mean, we're human and that's what we do. If you do that and you still feel like you need to talk to that person, well then you know what? You did the first step of trying to avoid making it a bigger conflict. And you can go with them with more respect, a better understanding of what you want to say, and a better understanding of what outcome you would want to expect from them. Singing is another way to. I'm a horrible singer, but I sing all the time. Whether it's in the shower, in the car, no one hears me because I don't get caught. But I sing all the time. I belt out like, I think I'm like Adele, you know. I sound like crap, but it makes me happy. Get some upbeat music, sing. It helps you breathe better. You know when they say your meditation or when you're mad or you're stressed, breathe. breathe. Well, when you're singing, you take deep breaths. You let a lot of air out, and you're breathing. Music also messes with your emotions. A good happy-go-lucky song or a good pump-up song will boost your mood. Happens all the time to everybody. So a combination with the good music, fun music, and the breathing, and when you're singing and dancing, you feel good. You get those good endorphins going, and it helps prevent stress dramatically as well. Again, another thing too is making you have enough sleep. Now, like I said, my problem is, I woke up about 8 o'clock yesterday. Okay, and I tried going to bed about 11 o'clock tonight. It's now 3:36 a.m. and I'm supposed to wake up at 4:45 a.m. I didn't get no sleep. I have to go do my ACLS, BLS training, and I have no sleep. So I'm gonna be a little stressed out today, just a little bit. But something I need to work on to help prevent my stress, so I don't start getting health issues such as exhaustion, high blood pressure. Okay. Um, I'm gonna start by end this on this note here. Um, if you have any more questions, please email me at nurseadosis@gmail.com. You can contact me on Instagram at nurseadosis, also on Facebook and Twitter. I'll post all the links to my social media pages in the comments area. Like I said, I'll post the app for the food, little scanning food thingamajigger, and I also put the title of the book that I used and where to find it. I want to thank the American Heart Association for providing all the information, how getting everybody educated. People's lives are being saved more and more every day because of you guys, and big things are happening. People are surviving things they didn't 20, 30 years ago, and it's amazing. You guys, I appreciate you guys following me and for your support. I hope I can continue to help you guys keep kicking butt in nursing school or your career. And I look forward to learning from you guys. I constantly look at your pages and stuff you post and things you're passionate about, and I learn from you, and I hope you learn from me. One other question I got was, when I tutor people or help people with NCLEX, how much do I charge? You guys, I don't ask for money. I don't ask for anything. I genuinely want to help you guys pass your tests, do better in school, learn how to do your skills better, because we need to be more giving and more. If you have that knowledge, share it with people. We're a family. If you work in the medical field, you need to be a family. If everybody helped everybody out, patient care would be sky high. We all need to be on the same page. We all need to be educated properly. And we all need to be able to help one another. You guys are my peers. You're a nursing student and you haven't passed your NCLEX yet? And I'm a registered nurse. I don't care. I'm not above you. We're a peer. We're peers. 20-year nurse and a 2-year nurse should be peers, not one above the other. I also feel if you're a chief nursing officer in a hospital, and I'm just me, another floor nurse doing my 12-hour shift, we should be peers. Yes, you may be authority, but you shouldn't come with acting like you're my boss. I get that you're my boss, but be respectful. Treat me as a friend or treat me as a coworker. You don't have to be my friend. Treat me as a peer. Help me learn. Help me do better. Because if I do better, you do better. And that's how our mentality should be. Like I said, I appreciate you guys following me and your support, and I hope I can continue doing more videos and more posts for you. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me. I'll also leave my phone number down there, so I don't mind getting text messages. Please no prank calls, okay? You guys have a wonderful night. I'm not going to try to sleep too late. You guys have a good night. Night, Nurse Fam.